just wanna chill around positive vibes. Nothing negative, it would fuck up my vibe and blowing my heart. I just wanna sit back and chill and just sip wine. I came from a dark place, now I'm living that life.
I am intentional, I am abundant. I bring to existence all that I want, and I done tapped into the God in me. Cut my locks off and switched up the vibe in me. Like how I manifest within, how I choose to defend. Who I label my friends, how I make amends. Cause I'm choosing laughter, it's peace that I'm after. I abracadabra, then poof, chakras blast off. My soul take this cast off, projection surpass all. Obsidian protection in case this trip lasts long. I see with 3 eyes, that's why my crown headstrong. Corona is viral to spirits living dead wrong vibration.
I just wanna chill around positive vibes. Nothing negative, it will fuck up my vibe. Sit back and chill and just sip wine. I came from a dark place, now I'm living in light.
Sunshine Monie.
Came from a dark place, yeah, now I'm moving with the light. Yeah, now I'm like making moves. Yeah, I be always on the flights. Yeah, I be on a mission for the bank nowadays. Why these niggas hating on a nigga nowadays? I've been on a mission with the light nowadays. I ain't fucking with the darkness nowadays.
Hey, Sunshine Monie with the affirmations to enjoy your day with Sunshine Monie. You are listening to Chakra Reading. I came through with intentions of destruction. You said you wanted freedom, well it's me then that you wanted. I moved in gratitude as my soul was being summoned. The consciousness has returned, Christ is really coming. I make these flows for the souls that drift in indigo. I make some goals for they glow since they was embryos. Access the records, they lectures, keep your principles. Enemies infect you, don't let them reach your pinnacles. Reversing curses that's embedded in religions. They wound up in your soul, that's why you feel tension. I'm remixing the clenches before Sumerians existed. It's something in the water, don't get caught, you'll get acidic. I bury enemies, pay pinnacles to the witness. You say my name in threes, I appear in your vision. Write Iliads in me, I'm the witcher in your system. Silly as can be, there's no opposite in infinite. I'm the goddess of crossroads, touching all directions. With the skull and crossbones that cause to the vexes. I applaud the protectors, I'm the god of inflection. They see the demon in me and still pause the respecters. I need no translation, vibrating from universe. My throat mansplaining while my yoni do the work. Mask off, crowns on, bombshell on all the arts. Mask off, crowns on, bombshell on all the arcs. Mask off, crowns on, bombshell on all the arcs. Mask off, crowns on, bombshell on all the arcs.
Enoch 7 prophet, move like the full winds do. My energy is useful, my thoughts are old school. So I move with a Bob Slim. Say I'm sexy, haircut like Anita Baker, real lovely. Caught up in the rapture, it's kinda risque. Kisses and faces on public is real frisky. Touche.
You are listening to Chakra Music.
Mask off.
Manifested by elements ethereal, I knew of terrestrial material, intertwined celestial of imperial, infiltrating corporation of oppressive serials. Resilience is something like a miracle, observing kinfolk and draconian material. The more equipped for ascension, the more one seems to be treated as inferior. Dr. Umar said, the white man's heaven here, the Asian man heaven here, the Arabic man heaven here. But the black man heaven fit. The black man heaven fit, cause it lies in death. Release from the karma debt, release from all the stress, release what we don't confess. In order to live, I guess we must be bodiless. Makes me wonder, if we made out of greatness most fit for this claim, then why we the most hated? Why we the most hated? Was I in court waiting for my sentence? Listening to a witness accuse me of unfitness to remain in these cosmic dimensions? Is that why we repent and we ask for forgiveness? The hours and days, they feel repetitious. Oppressive energy soaking up my minutes. Purple haze blowing smoke on my grimace. Another nobody traveling out of limits. Exiled from cosmos as penance. Or maybe this time it's just an intermission. Like Jesus chapters that went missing. Traveling and gaining knowledge between the dimensions. Christ consciousness bringing me ascension. Kundalini flows up now, where are my intentions? So don't cry for me when my time is risen. Sing some praises, cause you know that I made it. And know you're all my extensions. Yes, you're all my extensions. Hey, peace, y'all. Oh, you can't see me. Hold on. There she is. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to part 2 of the Planetary broadcast. We ended last night at like 3 a.m. I got a little tired, my bad. My apologies for my late arrival. I had some phone calls, like back-to-back phone calls. My phone ain't never been that popular. It's cool though. We're here. So let's pull up my presentation so we can get started. Peace to the God. Hello, Adonis. Hello, those down there, Ricky and Jay. Peace to those tuning in on TikTok. Always nice to see you all coming together. This is the image I was telling you guys about yesterday. I knew I had this image up here somewhere. And I'm like, I know I have it. But this is, no. I don't want to do. Share it. I want a slideshow. This is what I base my energy awareness course on. Trying to get people to get past the 3D and get through all the chakras. If we can get through all the sephiroths of the 3D, and we make our way up to the Keter, we can move on to the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, all the way up to the 13th. I haven't had anybody get past the 3D yet with me, because people usually fall off. I guess it's the routine of it, and it is a lot of dedication. It's a lot of work. It takes about a year to even get through the 3D when you think about the different facets of the 3D between your tropical, Vedic, Draconic, Natal, and progressive, right? That's a lot of work right there alone before we even get up higher than that, right? Actually, it gets a little bit easier once you get up higher than that. It's just really learning to master the upper and lower self here on this plane, which is rooted in Capricorn energy, which deals with a lot of challenges in your space. So, yeah. And, as soon as you open a portal like this with me, a lot of different things start transforming in your life to make space for this. But it's just not in alignment with capitalism and economics and societal norms and all that. So people usually kind of like fall back. And that's cool. I get it. It's really hard to serve two masters. It really, really is. I say that for my own personal experience. It's very hard to serve the two masters. You're either going to be in the capitalistic world and stuff like that, or you're not. It's not really too much of an in-between you can do. To do the in-between is very difficult. So just to like rehash a little bit what we did yesterday, we did get into the season of the flooding. We got into the energies of the years between Sept, Horus, and what was the other one? I don't want to lie to you. I want to give you proper rehashes. So let me go back to my notes because I did not have any space or time to update that slide like I intended to do. I'm telling you, today was like, woo. I didn't even do my mathematics yet. I'm just like trying to catch up. I have to do better preparation for the retrograde. That's what really needs to happen. It's like every Mercury retrograde, it's the same. It's literally the same distractions. Like there's really no reason why I'm not together at this point. It's literally the same distraction. But yeah, we start with Sekhmet from July 29th to August 11th, and then starting August 12th, we get into Horus. That's the 12th to the 19th. So we go from the god of war, goddess of war, to the god of sky, and then we end off with the god of earth from August 20th to 31st. So that's how we do it. We are in the season of Aket, was the season of flood that starts in June and goes on to September. June, July, the beginning stages of August kind of prep us for the energy required for the flooding. You know, all the heat and everything kind of starts getting us in flood mode. And then by the time we get from mid-August to September, now we're officially in flood mode. That was more so like dealing with the Egyptians. Their river flooding was the Nile River. We have over here the Mississippi River. We have the Great Lakes. We have the Delaware River. What other rivers we got? We got another one on the West Coast, and it's running through my mind what the name of it is. And then we're in the year of 8, so it's the year of 8 of storms and currencies and stuff at an extreme level. So expect everything to be more extreme than usual. We also went over the energy of Sirius Star, and how Sirius Star has been, you know, our main star at one period of time, and it's way hotter than the Solaris that we have now. Thank you, Adonis, for that vocabulary. And during, you know, in the beginning of July, from July 2nd up until August 12th, we have a Sirius and Solaris in alignment with each other, which brings a lot of the heat waves, the solar flares, all those different things. Every 50, 60 years, we have what the Dogon tribe calls the Sigui celebration, where they celebrate the return of Sirius Star on the ecliptic. And so that is scheduled to happen in 2027, which is pretty exciting. Us returning, you know, getting back to Sirius Sun, it's going to be way, 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 way hotter, which we have been experiencing these last few summers of, you know, the heat increasing in all seasons as Sirius gets closer and closer to being one of those main stars in the sky, which is pretty cool. That means warmer winters, you know, changing of the calendar in alignment with the seasons and stuff like that. Because the calendar is supposed to tell the seasons, not the seasons. Well, the season is supposed to be dictating the calendar, not the calendar dictating the seasons. And that's why it seems like we'll be in September and be like, dang, this still feel like, you know, August, or dang, it feel like we in October already. Yeah, you know, everything is moving except for the calendar. Anything stagnant is in the way, and it's resistance, and it's not going to always be in alignment. That's why we have times where like the sundial time minus the watch time is finally equals 0, or it's at an extreme value, a negative value, or it's an extreme positive value, and that's when the sun will transit the ecliptical at a late time or earlier than usual, stuff like that. And that's because, you know, time, the 60 seconds, 60 minutes, 24 hours, you know, 12 and 12, all of that won't change, but everything else is changing. So that's the stagnant energy. But we got into this whole page here, and it was fun here. We went heavily into the tropical from August to September. We started at the midheaven line of success. I don't know what made me want to do it that way, but we did. And we worked our way around and back to the midheaven. And that was pretty interesting. You know, the tropical rules over your mindset, how you think things to be based upon your education and your upbringing and your experiences. So comparison of the Vedic or sidereal to the tropical, we got a little buggy looking situation happening here. And I have book pages of that too. I don't really, being transparent with you guys, I don't know the names off the top of my head of the different shapes on here. I just know, you know, I know the alignments. So if you know the actual like word, I do have notes in here. That's what I need to do. I need to start studying my notes more, because I have like years worth of notes. Between the forecast that I've been doing for the past like 8 years now. I've been doing planetary forecast for like 8 years now. Isn't that wild? And then Virgo version talk we've been doing. We're like in like 3rd season and stuff. I have all of that stuff. Solaris is the son of time. Timing is so essential but easily overlooked. Agreed. It is easily overlooked. Timing is essential. I think that we get frustrated with time. So instead of, you know, again, coming back to that theme of who is your authority, Instead of being our own authority and saying, all right, it's time to revamp some of this time shit, we just let it be because we swear up and down there's some people on TV that really care about how we do time. And they really don't. They just like telling people what to do and to see if you're going to do it. It's like a big social experiment happening from the television. And, but ultimately it's the community, it's the society that decides whether or not they're going to let those little beings on the screens tell them what to do and how to do it. You know what I mean? If you choose not to, then you choose not to. You know what I'm saying? These policy enforcers, they're private owned. That means that you can create your own policy enforcers. You can privatize your own shit to where like these public policy enforcers, or they can't even be allowed in your premises to even enforce things that they whatever. You can create your own world. It's just like, do you really want to put in the work to do that? A lot of people want the spoils of being their own authority, but they don't want the responsibilities of being their own authority. And it's very difficult to have one without the other. Yeah, it would be very difficult to have one without the other. You have to have a sense of responsibility and self-accountability and the ability to create your own things and stuff like that. Otherwise, what are you doing? What are we doing? Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to do, because I did have more notes. But anywho, so aligning the sidereal with the tropical, that's what we're doing right now, right? And you see, of course, they make the same shape because it doesn't change where the planets are placed at. It just changes the clocks around the placements. So the houses always stay the same, whether tropical, Vedic, or Draconic. The houses, well, Draconic kind of switches a little bit, but the houses pretty much stay the same. It's the zodiac clock that switches around. The Aya Namasa, which is the difference between the tropical and the sidereal, is about, at first, when I first started doing this, it was like 23.4 degrees, but I believe it's the full 24 degree now. Full 24 degree difference between the tropical and the Vedic, because it's always changing, right? The tropical deals with the pole of Earth, while the Vedic deals with the whole 365. So the tropical dealing with the pole of Earth only deals with the 30 days, which is really 28.5 days, but we add 30 days because I don't know. I don't know. I want to make some shit up for you guys, but yeah, I don't have it in me right now. And the Vedic side is more so like the entire, like the diameter pole, which takes 365 days. Actually, like a little bit less, was like 363 or something. But we like 365s because that's how we wanted to build our calendar, right? Hello. So that's that there. Okay. So seeing the difference between the tropical and the sidereal is, and this time let's start with the ascendant line. So when we start with the ascendant line, we're starting over here, the first house, and we're going to make our way to the IC line. So we know the ascending line is how you present yourself. The IC line is when we come into the space of home and family and nurturing and stuff, our space of acceptance, and how we like to be accepted. And everybody likes to be accepted. People act like they don't. But if you're physically mostly water and H2O is the strongest bond out there, then of course you're going to want to be accepted because you want to create those bonds. And then if, atoms coming together make the element stronger, then of course you're going to want to create those bonds. So hello, one boy, how you doing, beloved? So keeping that in mind, nobody really wants to be detached or alone. Even in the midst of that, they still find their connections. It might not be entirely with other people or in the space of popularity, but different connections are being made nonetheless. So anyway, AC is how you present yourself. IC is your sense of belonging, and it impacts the home and all that fun stuff. So Vedic speaking, we know Vedic controls the body while tropical controls the mind. So we still have this energy here. However, in the AC line on the Vedic, we start in Aries. So new beginning is the first energy versus tropically speaking, it's Taurus, right? In our mindset, it's the sense of priorities and love and wealth and monies and all that stuff like that. That's what's going on in our minds, right? It got to be the money. It gotta be love. It gotta be romance. It gotta be beautiful things and materialism and stuff like that. But what's actually happening, okay, is new beginnings and motivation and ambition and triggers and things. All right. Again, we have Uranus happening in the and Taurus in the beginning, giving us the progressive changes that we need, those progressive pushes that we need to make changes in that space of money. Because what's actually happening in our space, hello Sagittarius, how you doing, beloved? Because what's actually happening in our space is Aries energy, which is that space of new beginnings, the gut that's controlling the mind. And then we come into Taurus on the Vedic, and now we have Uranus providing the progressive changes. So Uranus is providing the progressive changes in our mind and in our happenings. And then also in Taurus, we have Mars and Jupiter. Okay, so Mars is being that gut, that solar plexus chakra, the enforcer, the new beginnings, the gut that's controlling the mind, methodical, really thought out, right? And then Jupiter is giving that expansion, that abundance, that sacral chakra. So we have that combination of the solar plexus and the sacral chakra together here, creating those transformations. We start the month off with Mars being at a 13, which is a karmic number, which is like learning how to express the things that you know, which can be very difficult because, in our upbringing, in our root chakra, we're being taught to suppress what we know. We don't really be allowed to speak out too much, especially as children. Everybody can't wait to shut a child up. You ain't got no nerves. You're supposed to be seen and not heard. Stay in a child's place. Get it out in an adult's mouth. This is not a child's conversation. We're ultimately taught how to be quiet, right? So trying to learn how to communicate the things we know as an adult is very difficult because all of our life we've been taught how to be quiet, how to bow down to authority, and just do what we're told. And as we get older, we start to see how much those elders that taught us these things also allow themselves to continue to be controlled and manipulated, especially as we start to break out of those controls and manipulation and say, hey, I don't want this shit. I want something different. We talked about this heavily last night about like we're doing things that have never been done before. So we can't go to people who are doing the things that are still being done for advice because they have none to give us. It's about more so individuals like us coming more together to do the things. Rather than trying to stay amongst those that are not. And that's to a certain extent, yes, you want to go back out into the community and give that social awareness and social justice. That's Pluto and Aquarius, right? At the same token, when it comes to your personal life, have a separation between your personal and your purpose, right? When you start to muddy the lines between personal and purpose, that's when you start to mess yourself up because you're submerging yourself in a community that does not have the ability to support you in your personal, when in reality it's supposed to be you submerging yourself in that kind of community for your purpose. Does that make sense? So you're going to receive in a space that you're supposed to be giving, and then you're going to give in a space that you're supposed to be receiving. And I don't think that's working out too much for anybody. And so you have in that heart chakra space, you have Mars and Jupiter sitting there. Now, on the tropical in our thought process, that motivation and ambition, that solar plexus and sacral chakra combination is happening in our Gemini space. It's happening in that space of community and our throat chakra and how we think things to, be before we invoke it with that Virgo energy, right? So we have the ambition and motivation and stuff like that. And then the expanding on that, and then our fortune sitting at a 19. Fortune is coming from the knowledge being born. Fortune is also coming from that 1 and 9, 1 being Aries energy, 9 being Sagittarius energy. Sagittarius rules over the 9th house. So by you being able to align the Mars and Jupiter together, that's where your fortune is going to come from. Check your personal Mars and Jupiter placement, allow those to align with each other and have a good time. Like my Mars is in Gemini, my Jupiter is in Leo. So allowing that air to make my fire bigger, make my Leo fire bigger, present myself more, have more confidence, create more, do those things more. That's where my fortune is going to come from. However, the equal opposite energy be beaten by ass. There's a lot of distractions here, but it is what it is. So, and as you notice, the degree numbers are different. because when you go to the Vedic, you have Mars at a 13 degree. Now Mars is at that karmic number in Taurus. Jupiter is at a 20 degree. So Jupiter is creating that that balance in your space, the wisdom in your space that you need, right? And then the fortune is at a 2-5. So it's finding balance on that 5. 5 dealing with the Gemini energy, the Tippereth, which is the goal to be balanced. 5 also deals with Leo. That's the 5th house. So Libra, bringing the balance. 2 can be with Libra and wisdom, but 2 can also be with Taurus energy, right? Taurus ruling over the 2nd house. And that's the space of priorities, your heart chakra, love, forgiveness, the different levels of love, etc., etc. And then 5 being the energy of walking in the power of your truth. So you have that 2, 5, that 7, which ultimately brings you to Libra scales regardless. So having that balance between the 2 and the 5, between your wisdom and the power of your truth, between Taurus energy and Leo energy, both ruling over your heart chakra in some type of way, shape, or form, that is what's going to bring you the abundance in your body and your happenings, right? And so, again, fortune is saying in your mindset, learn about that Mars and Jupiter alignment. And then in your happenings, it's saying, embark more so in finding that balance in your heart. What does your heart want? And I talked about that heavy in the month of 7 when we talked about the Oba scales, because Libra does rule over the number 7. Make sure it's what's going on inside of you that's reflecting outside of you and not the other way around, right? So again, sidereal, we have that happening all up in the Taurus energy. Following your heart is key here. Expansion, listening to your heart, utilizing your heart to be your space of sage and wisdom, because your heart's been here for a long time. This is your vertex, right? This is your frequency, your beat. You have a heartbeat. That heartbeat's been here for a really long time. You know what I'm saying? So, listen to it, because it feels things that, you in your regular goings and comings don't pay attention to. And we give thanks for Uranus for giving us that progressive push that we need in our mind and in our bodies when it comes to Taurus energy. But yeah, so, mindset going to the community, heart says going to that Taurus. So now we come into the moon energy in our thought process. We talked about the moon being on the cusp between Gemini and Cancer at the beginning of the month, but more towards the Cancer side, going inward. It's at a 0 degree Cancer energy. So being like really intuitive, really listening to spirit, praying, all those things of that nature. Now what's happening in our body sense is invocation. Gemini is associated with Elegua. Gemini energy is associated with Mercury, which is the communication between the physical and the non-physical realm. That's Hermes, that's Mercury. That was the messenger between the gods and the humans, right? So having that ability to meditate on that type of energy, that's what's happening in our happenings in our Vedic with our body, is being able to be that middle, that segue, communicating between the physical world and the non-physical world through our third eye, and being able to see how other people are conducting that conversation, that communication as well is a big thing also. You know what I'm saying? So, giving thanks to the moon sitting over there in Gemini on the Vedic chart, giving us that experience we need on our community and our sense of communication. And all those things. Now, the goal with that moon in Gemini is to be grounded. And that's why we have lovely Aquarius sitting in our root chakra and bringing us back up in the catchers, which is sphere 0. We love it here. So we give thanks for the moon for straddling between Cancer and Gemini energy, giving us that experience and able to communicate with spirit and down to the physical world and see through it through our community that we wish to attract, that we need for the support. This comes back to what I was telling you guys. There's a difference between purpose and personal. Okay. Make sure that when you're in certain areas, you are moving in purpose and not trying to personalize those connections. Because if you're trying to personalize people that need you to need them, they're not going to be able to support you in the ways that you need support. And here you come looking at these memes like, oh, I should just accept what people have to give me. I should just be grateful. La, 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 la. Giving people participation trophies. No more participation trophies. You have to have better discernment with the communities that you're in. And this 8 that we're in, the 8th sphere, deals with Sept. That is the celestial technicians. Now we're in a space of classification and separatism. And it's not a bad thing because it still all brings us back into the one. You know, it's still all interconnected and interdependent, but you have to be able to classify things. Like, what would you do if you couldn't classify like the different plants and you were just out here eating everything? You'd be high all the time. You'd be wonder why you got you can't breathe. You certain plants is giving you respiratory issues. Certain plants is making your blood too thin. Yeah, because we didn't bother to classify the plants. We just let you go out there and just eat whatever you want to eat. You figure it out. Well, if you don't have the ability to classify, how the fuck you gonna figure it out? You know what I mean? You have that same discernment. Like we go outside and like, oh no, don't touch that snake. Those kind of snakes are poisonous. Those kind of snakes are volatile. These kind of snakes over here like this. These kind of snakes are garden snakes. They're harmless. These kind of snakes you can have in your house and you can just be BFFs and you can just let that slither around and climb on top of you and play with your kids. Like, what if you didn't have that ability to classify those snakes? You know what I'm saying? You're just letting all the snakes around you. Like, yeah, whatever. Like, no, that's not how it works. No, yes, no more participation trophies. No more. We're not doing no more of that because it's not fair to you and it's not fair to the people that are receiving the participation trophies. And I'll tell you why. Because you're so busy personalizing these relationships that should be a part of your purpose. And so you're giving them participation trophies for work they have not done. So you are actually debilitating them from doing the work. You know what I'm saying? They're not doing the work that they have to do because they feel like it's already been done because you done gave them the trophy and said, hey, you did it. They didn't do anything. They're getting an award by association. They didn't do the work. So when they end up, you know, ascending and then having to come back down here because they have to redo this board, they're going to be pissed because you got in the way, giving out awards and shit. Don't get in nobody's way of doing their work, okay? Everybody has their own journey. Everybody has their own pace. I know in a perfect world, we would be able to speed up other people's journeys to catch up with where we're at. But that's the whole point of you having discernment between personal and purpose. All right? You have to be on the people around the people that's already on your speed instead of trying to get other people to hurry up and catch up because you want to personalize them because they have dope personalities or they have certain titles that make you feel like they should be entitled to your space in a certain type of way. That's not fair to you and that's not fair to them. Because I'm pretty sure you're probably making them do shit that they don't even want to do. they don't even want, they breathe. They take a deep breath every time you come around because they know you about to drag them into some shit that they're not even spiritually, mentally, or emotionally ready for. You know, they don't want to deal with that shit that you're doing, you know? So having that mindset, I'm so ready for superhero abilities and secret societies. You know, me too. I'm ready for the fun stuff. I'm ready to do some fun stuff. I'm no longer subscribed to economics and capitalism and all that stuff. It's not working for me to even be in here and pretend like I can do it. I can't. This is not where my participation trophy is coming from at all. I'm not doing a good job, y'all. This is not for me. I'm supposed to be, you know, in the woods somewhere with my friends building hobby holes, or, you know, y'all know I love Sept, and so I'm supposed to be in the desert living my best life, the goddess of the desert. That's where I'm supposed to be at. Okay, so that's how we make it from the AC line to the IC line between the Vedic and the tropical. Ashe. So then we go from the IC line to the I said AC to IC, right? So now we go from the IC line to the DC line. So now we made it from how you present yourself to your sense of belonging. So we did all that work, you know, from Taurus, the heart chakra, making the heart chakra attract the community, and then going into our intuitive space with it. And that's what we did with our mindset. Now, with our actual body was experiencing all new beginnings. A lot of you guys started this month with a clean slate. You probably already did the work of removing people, places, things, and situations from the last month when we went from MC to your AC line to begin the month with. You know, you guys already did that work in that cycle. So congratulations. You got to start 818 on a fresh, you know, a fresh slate or whatever with your happenings. So then you came into Taurus. So after the new beginnings, it's like, now what does my heart want? Listen to your heart, and then the community follows. So now we start the IC line, which is your sense of belonging, into the DC line, which is what you attract and experience through others, right? So we have that. We start in our mindset. We started in Cancer with it. The Cancer energy is pretty quiet there. We started at a 32 degree at that. So 3-2, that emotion, that expression, creative energy on what we've balanced, right? On that 2, that brings 5, walking in the power of our truth, allowing your third eye, because 6-9 Cancer energy rules over the third eye, right? 6 being that number of earth energy, that's Virgo. 9 being that number as Sagittarius energy, that's the mindset and the oracle and the wisdom. That's your nervous system. So having those 2 lines together, those 2 numbers together, brings you back into the womb, right? Tune to the womb. And so we did that at a 3-2. All right. So now we come into the Leo energy with our thought process. We want Leo experiences. What do you deserve? What, how you want to be celebrated, how you want to be gifted, how you want different objects to orbit around you. And it's not so much as being like in a narcissist realm or whatever, but we all want things to be in our orbit and evolve around us to some type of shape or form. Yeah, 6-9. We all want those things to orbit around us, and we deserve to have things orbiting around us. But it's like, what is it that you want? Leo also rules over the 5th house. That's the Tippereth. That's the heart chakra. What is your heart, desire or whatever? So, as our body goes, our body or our happenings around us start that IC line a little bit in like a 29 degree of Gemini. So we still got that little bit of community in there, throat chakra in there. That we start the IC line in, and then we come into, Cancer vibes, right? Then we come into that 6-9, that above and below, the ethereal spiritual wisdom with the earthly manifesting harvest energy. And that's where the sun is at, giving us that energy on the Vedic chart in the beginning of this month. And it's at a 1-5. So utilizing your knowledge to walk in the power of your truth. And when you walk into that, soul tribe is happening in your experience, you're having more spiritual experiences, more experiences that are in alignment with that womb self, that, intuitive self. And we give thanks for that. And then we go into Leo energy. And once we go on Leo energy with our body, we are around Venus. It's still bringing us to the heart chakra, Tippereth and Venus in alignment, still giving us that heart chakra energy. And then Venus is also in Leo energy on the tropical chart as well. But we start at a 0 degree in our body. So that's the easy degree, just happening. Wherever your heart is at, that's what you're attracting. It's happening. And then on our mindset, where we have been well into Venus being in Leo for a while now. So at that point, it's finding balance in your 5, right? Finding that mental balance in your 5 while we're just entering that 5 on your body chart, right? So yeah, you're really experiencing, what is happening in your mindset and how balanced you are with your heart chakra. So that's what's happening with Venus. And then we come in with Mercury. Mercury on our body happenings is still in Leo. We're dealing with the Mercury retrograde, which started on Saturday. Yesterday, Sunday. Excuse me. I don't know why today feel like Sunday. It started on Sunday. And, so now we're, rewind. We're moving slower in that daily routine habit, more on the tidal code. And then we move on Earth, right? Our Malkuth is moving a lot faster than our Sept. And that's happening because it's giving us an opportunity to rehash and re-experiencing certain decisions that we made, certain things that we want to harvest in our space, to say, are you sure? Are you sure this is what your heart wants? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like when you get little samples, you get little sample spoons to make sure like that's the flavor you really want to choose, right? So we give thanks for the opportunity to be doing that. Some of you guys be mindful of regressing back into old habits and routines that don't serve you. Nefertum was my name in the 18th dynasty back in ancient Egypt. Really? I like it. And you know what? That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. And then we get into Mercury. Mercury is, we talked about Mercury. We talked about Venus. So Mercury, we start the month off at a 9 degrees. So that's that wholeness, bringing you back to that Jupiter energy happening in Leo. So we got the fire on top of your Mercury and your happenings. Y'all be careful about how y'all have y'all energy exchanges and how y'all express y'all passions, because some people they're They're doing too much in the passion realm. And then we're at a 3 degree. So again, in our mindset, that emotion and stuff like that. But, you know, really check your moral and integral code. That's what that Mercury and Venus wants you to do on the tropical. Check that moral and integral code. Check your mindset on your habits, your rituals, your routines, all those things. You know, it matters. And make sure that it's, you know, an alignment with that Mercury and Leo. You know, what do you want to orbit in your space on a daily basis? So then we move on in our happenings. So now we're finally getting to Virgo and our sidereal with Lilith. We have the South Node here, and we have our vertex here. So there's some rebellious energy happening and our routine and our moral and integral code. This is a rebellious energy that we need for so when you think about the story of Lilith, you know, she wanted equality, right? And that's what Virgo energy likes. Virgo energy is the 6. This is the number of equality. And because that equality wasn't there, you know, Lilith was like, all right, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, even 3 angels were sent to ask her to go back. And she was like, no, I told y'all, like, you know, equal, or get the fuck out of my face. So the fact that Lilith is in Virgo, which is the energy, the number of equality, and in Libra, which Libra scales bringing the equality, that's a divine alignment. Hello, Zazo. Thank you for the follow. You know, that's what we require. We require equality. We require justice and balance and harmony. And if you can't do that in our space, then you got to get the fuck on, you know? Our South Node is comfortable here in that space of Virgo, being of service, having a moral and integral code. We really, you know, a lot of us are going back to our internal realms of Ma'at and where our spiritual code and conduct was at. You know, at one point in time, people was really sucked into this shit. People were really sucked into this program. I'm telling you, they was. How you doing, love? How's your day going? Thank you. People were really sucked into this program. They didn't see nothing wrong with the moral code of it. They didn't see anything wrong with the routine of it. In fact, they would really celebrate the routine of it because they were doing so well in it. Look, I'm the indentured servant of the month. Look at me, I'm doing so well. We're not really slaves, you know. That's not really going on. Like, people who are really subscribed to this. So now we're coming into a space where people are realizing, like, yo, this is not equal. You know, I'm giving you guys all this time and this energy, and y'all giving me $10 for an hour of my time and energy. Like, there's only 24 of these hours in a day. I would have to work all 24 hours to make $240. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I say $10 because you got to think about taxes before you even get your money. You basically making $10, $11. Over here in New Jersey, minimum wage is $15. You're really making like $11. And it takes you a whole hour to do that. Imagine how much shit you do in a whole hour, how much you can get done. I could read 100 pages in the book for a whole hour. I can learn something new. I can do the planetary forecast for y'all. I can do a reading in an hour. I can do a lot of different things in an hour. I can homeschool my kids a nice chunk of information in an hour. You know what I'm saying? And we're spending it to make $11. To buy what? What are you buying with $11? What can you purchase? Probably something that would have took you less than an hour to make. Like, so people are starting to see that inequality. People are starting to see that imbalance and feel it. And it's getting loud. And Lilith don't play. Lilith never played. Okay? So keep that imbalance going. You know, Lilith, you know, the rebellion is happening. Okay, so we're taking those concepts that have been, you know, we've been so comfortable with and we've been working with between that Virgo and those Libra placements, and, you know, we're moving forward with them. We're being rebellious with them. We're transmuting them to a space that's more fine-tuned, that's more in alignment with that equality and in alignment with our moral integral code, says that Virgo, and that Virgo constellation, or, you know, more in tune with our heart chakra and the Oba scale balance that we require, says Libra, right? That's what we want in our space. And then we finally move up to the DC line, which, like I told y'all, is what you attract and experience through others. So you done did all of this work from Cancer, Leo, Virgo into Libra. And on the happenings, this DC line, which is what you attract, is actually in Libra. So however way you expressing these Cancer experiences, you know, your heart and your throat chakra, your heart and your throat chakra being in Leo, your vertex and what you're comfortable with, your rebellious side sitting in Virgo, you're gonna put all of that up into the Libra DC line of what you attract. So be mindful, because they're going to show you how balanced you are, how much you're giving, you know, where the equality is at with you. And while that's happening in our happenings and our mindset, it, you know, we started that line in Cancer and we made our way to Libra, you know, Leo, having the Leo experiences and having our heart chakra in the Leo too, and then having our throat chakra sitting in Virgo in its home space, you know, really like, you know, communicating and demanding that equality, that moral and integral code from people. Again, Mercury and Virgo energy is both the energies of Sept, that eighth sphere of classical technicians of discernment. Remember, the goal is the separation of personal and purpose. Okay. And that's what that Mercury and Virgo Leo energy is really going to call on you to do, especially when you start, you know, the thing with Mercury retrograde, especially now, and I talked about this heavy in last Wednesday's hump day reading, was you're going to start attracting people that you have relationships with, that, you know, whether it's friendships, partnerships, job, you know, we were co-workers, or I was a student, or we were classmates, or whatever. You're re-attracting these different relationships to see, like, you know, some of them are still reflections of what you used to tolerate. You know what I'm saying? Some of them haven't changed. You know what I'm saying? So you're looking at them like, damn, this is what I used to tolerate. Like, oh, hell no. Like, you know, and really like stand on that. Then some of them are showing you a transformation. Then some of them are showing you a half-ass transformation. It's levels to it. It's just a matter of you having a sense of awareness to see it. And that sun starting off in Cancer, from the ISD line, the Cancer Leo sun. This is why I'm doing third eye readings right now. If y'all want one, hey Ralph. But starting that line off in the first house, in the fourth house, that's really, you know, setting off the tone from this IC to DC line. You know, this sense of belonging to what you attract. You know, are you attracting spaces that you feel like you belong in? Go to your third eye and see what's going on the inside versus the outside. I'm chilling. I'm doing my planetary forecast right now. This is a podcast that I do. What you up to? But yeah, so by the time we get there, now we at the DC line in our mindset, which brings us to the transformations of Scorpio. And our happenings that brings us to that house of Libra of balance of our heart chakra. So our mindset wants those transformations to what's balanced, right? Now, when we get from the DC line to the MC line, it's pretty empty there. We don't really need to focus there. Well, the universe ain't saying it's time to focus there too much unless you want to get into the details of the asteroids. Okay. So you have the DC line. Again, that's the line of what you attract, starting in Scorpio. So what you're attracting has transformations. That transformations happen in the 7th house, because that's the 7th house there that DC line is in. Also enforcing those Libra scales, right? Hold on, I gotta grab my charger. I always forget to charge stuff. Oh, making the same mistakes. It's okay. And then we have Sagittarius after that. And again, we're still talking about the tropical right now. So we have Sagittarius after that, giving us the expansion, the wisdom, you know, pulling us into our sacral chakra. Charging. Yeah, it's giving us our sacral chakra, giving us that wisdom from the oracle and the sage, right? And then, and that's happening in the 8th house. So transformations to how we utilize that wisdom, transformations to our sacral chakra, what gives us joy and pleasure. Because, like I said, when you start getting reintroduced to some stuff that you tolerate, certain things that you was cool with, you're gonna be like, oh no, like this ain't it no more. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, but I ain't thinking that no more. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's what's bringing that there. And then you have Capricorn, which is your root chakra, bringing you the challenges and stuff that you need to create a new discipline and order. And that's happening towards the ninth house. So you have challenges and things happening to your space of joy and pleasure and the stuff that made you happy. Like, what are you willing to do? What are you willing to give up or give in to hold on to those things in your space? You know what I'm saying? And yeah, your answer does matter, because some people, they only want things when it's easy. And then as soon as the challenge comes, it's like, oh, no, I'm good. Like, that's not really what I wanted. That's not, that ain't it. And it's like, why aren't you willing to work for the things that you said that you wanted? Why is it so easy for you to give up? Is it maybe because that's not really what you want? You only want it when it's easy. And then you're going to notice how other people treat you that way. They only want you around when you're easy. They only want you around when you're easily accessible or when you're going with the flow of things. But then once you start challenging some things, when you want transformations, when you want more empowerment in those Libra scales, and you start rebelling, utilizing that Lilith in those Libra scales, now it's a problem, right? Because you ain't giving out participation trophies no more. Now it's like, oh, no, you can't just sit in my space and do whatever you want. No more participation trophies. You guys obviously are here for my purpose. I'm supposed to help y'all. You guys are not here for my personal. You guys do not give back to me. And that's okay. You know what I'm saying? So having that discernment and stuff, that's the challenge. And people are going to have that discernment with you too in certain spaces. And you got to learn how to accept and react accordingly, right? So you have that from your DC to your MC line. Peace, goddess. Peace, A Boogie. Now you have from your MC. Your MC is your social and career space. And then from your MC back to your AC, which is how you present yourself. So you start that off with Pluto. Pluto is sitting there creating heavy transformations. Pluto ain't never played. And Pluto is straddling between Capricorn and Aquarius. In fact, during the retrograde, Pluto is going to make its way back into Capricorn on the tropical as well. So eventually we're going to have Pluto sitting in Capricorn, both on the tropical and on the Vedic, providing transformations in our authority, in our infrastructure. And around that time, really, really pay attention to what's going on. If y'all really subscribe to these folks on the screens and stuff like that, it's going to be a lot of new laws in effect. Of course, they're going to come out with some shit on because these people they rule Hollywood. Like, they control Hollywood too. Hollywood is on their payroll, so they're going to pay Hollywood people to come up with some sort of quote unquote distraction. I don't really like to use the word distracting because I can pay attention to a bunch of shit at the same time. If you can't, then I don't know what to tell you. But I do pay attention. But I do pay attention to who I pay my attention to, if that makes sense. Like, not everything deserves my attention, So having that mindset too. But yeah. So when Pluto goes back into Capricorn, that's going to be really interesting, and we'll get into that. I think we'll get into that during this astrological report, but I don't think so. I don't think it's that soon. I want to say it's like September-ish, but yeah, we'll get into that in a moment. But yeah, so right now we have that transformation happening in our mindset, more so in Aquarius. Transformations happening in our social awareness and social justice in our mindset. We want transformations in like our places where we hang out, what people we socialize with, people that are removed from society, like people in hospitals and nursing homes and jails and boarding schools and colleges and stuff. A lot of transformations happening in those realm of things, in that infrastructure, in those spaces. And then what's happening is Pluto is sitting in Capricorn on the sidereal. So it's transformations happening in the space of authority. It's transformations happening in the challenges that we need to create new disciplines and survival of self. It's all of that happening there. And it's like, in our mindset, we think it's just going to be social. And that's because it's our mindset that's implementing the social. Like, the example that keeps popping up in my head was, people needing vaccine cards to get in certain restaurants. That was never a law. Like, these people got on TV and suggested it, but it was never a law. It was the people that started enforcing that. It was never cops going around enforcing that shit. It was your next door neighbor. It was the people in the store. It was people that owned the restaurants. It was those people that were enforcing that shit. It was people on TV suggesting it. And then they would play movies that show, oh, be scared. They, creating special episodes that are in alignment of this is how you probably should behave. Otherwise, this is going to happen. And people going back to all those different movies that they watched about outbreaks and infections and stuff like that. And they're like, oh my God, we got to act like this and we got to do this like that and we got to da-da-da-da. That was all y'all. It was all the people. It was all Aquarius. That's why these folks hide behind curtains and shit like that, because that's all they got to do. That's all they got to do. So we start off that MC line of success with transformation. Transformations happen in all of our root chakras, whether it's in your space of business, your space of authority. Well, again, remember the last couple weeks of July, I kept asking y'all, who is y'all authority? Who do y'all have in y'all root chakra? And now y'all see people really coming out and communicating who controls their root chakra. For some people, it's Hollywood that's controlling their root chakra. Oh, what are the celebrities doing? What's who this doing? And what's their drama? Blah, 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 blah. And they're allowing what celebrities are doing to mold their root chakra, how they attach and detach to society. Oh, there's Cardi B made a song about men doing woo woo wop. So now I'm treating women like this and I'm treating men like that. And it's like, that's who your authority is. Meanwhile, that's just how she make her money. This, what she actually does in her actual, she knows the difference between her personal and her purpose. You know what I'm saying? Do you know when someone else is moving in that discernment of personal and purpose, or do you personalize everything? Like me sitting up here doing this, doing a podcast or doing the readings that I do for people and stuff like that, I'll be having to set those boundaries to people too, because like I get it. I give a service, and it's a very interpersonal service, and I love what I do. My background is in psychology, so whether I was doing this in the spiritual realm or doing this in Western medicine, I was going to be doing it regardless. This is my purpose. And like I said, this is my purpose. This is not my personal. But I understand what I do is very personal for the people that I do it for. But don't personalize me, because you're going to get your feelings hurt every time. Because that's when the projections and the expectations start to come in, where you want me to personalize it too. And you got to understand, this is me and my purpose. Some of y'all don't qualify to be in my personal. Inner authority is the flow over here. Ashe. Inner authority is definitely the flow over here. You know what I'm saying? And that's the advice that I give to a lot of spiritual leaders and guides and tarot readers and astrologists and all that stuff like that. Like, y'all have to be able to set these boundaries, and you got to do it in a nasty way or whatever. I know some people that feel like, oh, if I curse you out, if I talk to you any kind of way, you'll know that this is purpose and not personal. But you ain't got to do all of that. You don't have to do all that. Keep your heart as light as a feather. Watch your sword. Watch your tongue is your sword. That's why, sword, Gemini is a sword. You watch that shit. You know what I'm saying? But at the same token, have that discernment, have those boundaries. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's all root chakra shit. It's all root chakra shit. How your Aquarius is set up is going to determine, what's happening with that Saturn and that Capricorn vibe. So then we move into Pisces after Aquarius, right? We move into Pisces, and Pisces gives us the intuitive energy, spiritual energy. Pisces can pull us into spaces of illusions and delusions, right? And that's the energy. I can't wait till this hump day reading. This hump day reading, we're going to get heavy into the different acts and laws that were signed and where the planets were during those times. Because I promise, it is so much Pisces energy on them hoes. So much Pisces energy on them hoes, bro. Like they're really doused in the age of Pisces, which was manipulating people's beliefs, right? You have to believe in this shit for it to be real. And it was heavy manipulation in people's beliefs. But now we have Saturn here challenging those beliefs, right? All those things that we used to believe in. Now Saturn's over here like, ooh, Oh, and look, Adonis, it's at an 18 degree. So you have Saturn sitting there at an 18 degree. That's 1 and 8. That's 1 being that Aries energy. Peace, DJ. How you doing, beloved? 1 being that Aries energy. That's that cardinal energy. That's the gut that controls the mind. And 8 being that, the enforcer. That's the Scorpius energy on the external side of the solar plexus chakra. That's doing all the manipulation after the gut controls the mind. You know what I'm saying? 1 and 8 come together and make 9. What is being born? What is being birthed after these challenges happening in this Pisces energy, right? And what are we implementing in our root chakra now that these beliefs are being challenged the way they are? Like, we all believe in money, right? Everybody believe in money. Everybody believe the money make the world go round. Some people believe money is the root of all evil. Some people believe, that in all actuality, there is no money. Your abundance is your resources and the energy, but if you believe it in the form of that physical money, then that's what it is. So now we're challenging your beliefs. You see, Warren Buffett just took out a bunch of money out of that stock market. Now where's your belief? Because I just showed you how easy it was to take it away. I just showed you how easy it was to create inflation. I just showed you how easy it was to raise the prices without raising y'all income. So if you're raising the prices without raising income, then where is our extra margin going? Like, the margins have increased on things. What is that going towards? What is that going toward? The Moon card, the Lovers, and the Hangman came out for a personal spread. My moon magic has been so amazing. Oh, felt. That's Pisces energy, heavy. Even the Lovers is in my birth card. Is my birth card too. Oh, okay, cool. See, I ain't even there yet with the applying tarot to my birth chart too hard yet. I just been doused in the zodiacs, history, sociology, and numerology. We're gonna get around. I'm gonna get around to the tarot card and the tarot cards. $2 trillion vanished from the crypto market. People have no idea of external forces. Exactly. But that's the challenges to your belief, though. And you believe this is always going to have you and it's always going to be stable. You believe if you go to work every day and you do that you're supposed to be good. People believe if they go to church and they let somebody tell them, they allowed somebody to read the book for them and tell them what the book said. And that's where we messed up at. Nobody want to read the book themselves. Read the book yourself. That's what my mom taught me. My mom used to sit down and read the book herself. She wasn't sitting there letting somebody read the book to her. And then I used to watch, on the other side of my family, how everybody just went to church. None of them read the book. If her name's Sunshine, love her always, not one time. Oh, bars. Don't let nobody read the book. And then, giving grace to, a certain generation, like my grandmother's generation, a lot of them couldn't read. They couldn't read. They couldn't spell. They couldn't do the thing. So they had to let this person sit in front of them and tell them what it said and what it read and tell them how to read it and tell them how to comprehend what they're reading. You know what I'm saying? They not only read the words, but they gave them the comprehension they wanted them to have. And that's all social control. But Saturn is here to challenge all of that because, while Saturn is in Pisces and our mindset challenging our belief system and our happening, Saturn is challenging our Aquarius energy, which is, where we're socializing and our detachment and stuff. Again, coming back to the fact that you have to have a division between your personal and your purpose. Because there's being lines drawn in the mud of who people's authority is. And if you allowing these people whose authority is not in alignment with your authority be in your personal, they're going to drag you. They're going to drag you or you're going to drag them. You know what I'm saying? Whether you think one is you in a better position or they're in a position, you all still dragging each other because y'all not supposed to be, it's supposed to be a better sense of detachment here. And you're not doing it because you want to bring everybody with you. We work for spirit, the labor of passionate love. Ashe, we surely do. My payment comes from above. Every time I go outside and I breathe air and I see the sun and I see water and I see animals and I hear things and all that stuff, that's my payment. That's the payment I want. I go outside and cut some shit down and build this and build that. I got my hands to do that. That's payment. Well, we could play this paper game, but if you play the paper game, you better learn it for real. Otherwise, you're just going to keep letting these motherfuckers read books and tell you what to read, what they read. And it's no different in church. It's no different than law. You know what I'm saying? The law is the same thing. You go in the courtroom and you let the judge tell you what the law is. Did you go read it? Or is you letting this person, hey Tiger King, or you letting this person tell you what it said? And they don't even really know for real, because they ain't even reading it. But you trust them because of the kind of clothes they got on and the fact that they're sitting in the pulpit of the courtroom. Or you letting this person tell you because they're sitting in the pulpit of the classroom. You know what I'm saying? And you taught, oh, these people are the people of my authority. The teacher is my authority. The judge is my authority. The police officer is my authority. The mayor and all these people are my authority. So whatever they say, I'm not going to take the time out to read it. I'm going to let them read it to me and tell me how to comprehend it. Meanwhile, it's mad shit that would set you free. You know, whether you're talking about the Bible or you talking about the law books or you talking about you know, all these the textbooks. If you would have read it yourself, you could have been set yourself free. You know what I'm saying? And that's what Saturn is challenging. And there's some people that still want to be read to. There's still some people that want to sit in the classroom and be the student and cross their hands and half-ass read. They want to be a C- student. Do you want to stay the C- student? If you don't, then you need to, you know, again, with that you know, with that reality, you know, it comes responsibility. You got to be responsible for yourself. For yourself. And that's why I personally am drawing that line in the mud between personal and purpose, because I want to be responsible for myself. I don't want to be responsible for other people no more. I got to teach me, and then I got to turn around and teach you. And then I got to keep reminding you to teach yourself. And I got to make sure you're teaching yourself so that when I bring you in certain rooms, you don't embarrass me or you don't drag me down where you at. I don't want to do that shit, bro. I do not want to do it. I don't want to do it. I refuse, bro. You either want it or you don't. You either want it or you don't. That's it. So now we move on to, so now Vedically, now we're finally in Pisces energy. So we have Neptune here. You know, Neptune is in retrograde too. Saturn is in Neptune. So we have like the retrograde spaces between Pluto, Saturn, and Neptune, giving us that slowdown that we need, you know, to really sit there and pay attention to things. Because now these celestial beings are moving slower than Mount Jeb or Malkuth, Earth, or whatever. So we get to, you know, run circles a little bit around it and see, you know, if all facets of it is really what we want. Now, in our happenings, as well as in our thought process, Neptune is in Pisces on both sides. And the tropical Neptune is actually at a 29 degree. It's about to enter Aries energy, which is going to be real interesting. New beginnings to the spiritual realm, healthy. Hey, Cozy, how you doing, beloved? And then Vedically, Neptune just entered Pisces energy. It's only at a 5 degree. So having those new beginnings on our hidden agendas, our energy of Mayat, our belief system, you know, when that Neptune enters Aries, it's going to be a set of new beginning. Neptune is in the 12th house, so it's also in its home house of intuition, Akashic records, past life energy, everything that's beneath the horizon, all things hidden, right? And so, you know, I'm really excited for Neptune entering Aries. That's going to be a really dope vibe. We'll probably get into that more so in 2025, but however, we still have our retrograde, so we'll be in between this 29 degrees for like, you know, up until like 2026. But we still will be able to experience the Aries energy here and there a little bit. And that's when we're really going to fall into that spiritual war, y'all. So I hope y'all really are gearing yourself up, because a lot of this shit that we do in the physical is just personifications of the spiritual war. All right. So we have to be mindful of that. Because when Neptune enters Aries, it's going to really be a time to be more methodical and more intentional, because Aries rules over method. Aries rules over, you know, a sense of intellect. Like if the gut controls the mind, the gut ain't just out here doing any old thing, you know. Aries or Ogun brought the stability and the intellect to Oya, that was just out here like storms everywhere, extremities, like, oh, we about to fuck it all up. You know, Ogun had to be like that masculine, you know what I'm saying? Between the waters. Because, you know, gut controls the mind. That's Aries up into Cancer. And then the gut is next to Scorpius. So it has to be that stability, like within that triangle. Ashe. So yeah, that's Neptune. Neptune doing big things. But it's sitting in Pisces on both sides. Then we have the North Node, of course. Now on the sidereal or Vedic, we have the North Node sitting in Pisces. So we're still moving towards, that energy of belief system, spirituality, So, but in our thoughts is new beginnings. So it's new beginnings to what we're physically doing. So see a lot of you guys taking old spiritual concepts and routines and rituals and holidays and all those things, do something new with them. We're not here to totally, I won't say copy or replicate. We're not here to entirely replicate old patterns, even though we have glamorized them because they all seem so much better than what the fuck we do today. I get it. They do. They seem prettier. They seem calmer. They seem all these things, but they weren't 100%. They were not. We glamorize them because we want to glamorize them. So with that being said, that's the power right there. The fact that we did glamorize our old patterns and our old rituals and the ways of doing things before we started this war with these Gentiles, gentrifiers, whatever. Before all these wars started, because the war has been going on for a very long time. A lot longer than 1492. It's nothing new under the sun, I promise you. But okay, so let's use that. Let's say, okay, maybe it wasn't this calm as we like to make it in our heads now, but let's make it this calm now. Now it's this calm. Now it's this unified. Now it's this ritualistic. Now it's this peaceful. Now it's this. It's way more in alignment with my yacht than what it was before. You know what I'm saying? Now it's more so in alignment with being like the homeostasis or being nonviolent or, all these things, because it wasn't all of that back then. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I be telling people, you got to be mindful of a lot of these leaders and influencers out here that are calling y'all to time travel. Because when you time travel back into different empires and spiritual practices and things like that, they're pulling you back into that karma from those empires too. And you don't even fully understand the karma and stuff, because once again, you're allowing someone to read to you instead of reading yourself and learning yourself and coming to your own understanding. And instead of just letting someone bark at you what was going on and say, oh, well, they were the same skin color as me. I understand. No, I ain't standing under shit, bro. I want to understand it. And if I don't understand it, I'm not fucking doing it, because I am my inner authority. You know what I'm saying? So if it's not understanding with my inner authority, it's not staying over here. I'm not standing under nothing. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be mindful of these different influences. Some of them mean well. Some of them, did their own due diligence, and maybe that is their empire. Maybe they are here to break the generational curses of those empires that they're time traveling to. Some of them do have that unfinished business. They do have to fix those bonds and those contracts and stuff. That's what they're here to do. But if you listen to what they're here to do and you automatically adopt it for yourself instead of doing your own due diligence, you're going to fuck yourself up. Not, you don't have to be everywhere all at once. That's the beauty of us experiencing ourselves in different personifications outside of ourselves. Because we don't have to. We don't have to be omniscient. We could be inside of ourselves, in our body, having our personal experience. This is kind of a break for the God energy, because all I got to control is me. All I got to control is what I got going on. I don't got to control 7 billion different minds, bodies, and souls on an infinite amount of timelines. It's split up. Oh, that's fire. Finally get to put my feet up. That's fire. This is small potatoes. We're making it big. This is small potatoes. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a resting period of time. You know what I'm saying? So, kudos to y'all that's really like, sitting in it and really seeing that for what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's just you, baby. You can do it. Now, when you align with other, facets, then the God energy gets stronger, right? Because now you have all these different, personifications of God coming together. Ain't no bond stronger than that H2O. So now you have these bodies of H2O come together, these spirit lights come together. And, when stars come together, they become binary. Then they become like Regulus, which is like 2 pairs of binary stars. The light get brighter, the energy gets stronger. That's what happens. I always think like, especially, the conversation, the energy exchange me and Adonis had between last night and today is like, I know it's a childish example because I'm a child. I'm a Leo rising. Chill on me. But I always think of Halloween Town. Halloween Town, it was like, yeah, when the one girl was trying to do the spell by herself, that shit wasn't working. And it wasn't that she didn't believe, it was just the spell she was trying to do was so strong that it's not just for her to do by herself. Like, it was for the whole town had to come together and hold hands. Then sometimes it was just her and her siblings and her mom and her grandmom that had to come together and hold hands. Like, it was levels to the different spells. And then some spells she could do by herself. The simple shit she could do by herself. But certain shit she had to hold hands and they had to come together and they had to chant together. And this is what I envision when I do these like eclipse seances and come togethers and stuff like that. Like, it's certain things that we trying to do that's not just for you to do by yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to be the be all. You don't have to be the omniscient energy that you're accustomed to, God. It's supposed to be a break here. We're supposed to be chilling here. This is supposed to be comfort. You know how many gods is jealous that we get to be here in the now and chill and put our feet up and only be in control of ourselves? And then we get to unite with other facets of ourselves to help us. That's fly. That's fly as fuck. And we got to start thinking about it like that, you know, because mindset is key. How you fine tune your energy is key to the energy you're going to attract, right? I should. So that's that there, you know, and that in that Saturn and Neptune and your North Node, you know, bringing that sense of, you know, quality that Sept from the South Node and bringing it up into that Piscean energy. And it's time for new spaces there. You know, that's the divine alignment between our North Node being in Pisces and in Aries at the same time right now. Chiron is also in Pisces and Aries at the same time right now. It's a lot of wounds, you know, that's going back to what I said. It's a lot of wounds in the things that we used to believe in, you know, and the goal is to transmute those things into strengths. You know what I'm saying? In our mindset, we want new beginnings in here. In our mindset, that's what's in our gut, that's controlling our mind. A lot of us are walking through our wounds. Now, are your wounds still weakening you, or are your wounds now your strength? Y'all be surprised if y'all start like, and when I speak to y'all, I definitely feel it. I feel like spirit is talking to me too. If you start telling your story, if you start talking about your wounds unapologetically, because I know, like I talked about it in the beginning, like, and our root chakra always taught us to be quiet. What goes on in this house stays in this house. You're not supposed to speak up. You're not supposed to do this, But could you imagine if you talk more about those wounds in your root chakra and you were more open and you kept talking about them, not in a space of weakening and I need a pity party and whoa, look at me and crying out, not like that, but in a way of where you're empowered. And this is what I've overcome. And this is what I've conquered. And this is, you know, if you start speaking about it in that type of light, could you imagine the kind of light that you would attract if you speak on it more? You really would attract the energy you're supposed to attract, people who would gravitate to that more, because that's the authenticity everybody looking for. Everybody think this shit coming to you easy. Everybody think you didn't have to go through nothing to get it. Everybody thinking that, you know, and that's what social media creates, these facades, you know, that we flow into. Like, I can only show my triumphs and my strengths. I can only, you know, show these certain parts. I can't show those certain parts. But then you see all these other people that like are really getting like large crowds. And why? Because they're showing their truth. And they're not showing it in a way that I need a pity party or I'm eating y'all. Some do, where I'm eating your energy. Like, I feel like, what is that? It's some of those like R&B singers I feel like are energy eaters. I don't know if y'all ever seen that show, What We Do in the Shadows. It's like an office version of it's like the Office type comedy, but they're vampires. And they peace no Diddy, how you doing? And their energy, they have regular vampires that suck your blood, but then they have energy vampires that suck your energy, right? And I find them so hilarious because they'll really just sit there and talk and talk and talk and talk. And as they're talking about things that need a pity party and they make you bored and all that. And it's like essentially like draining your energy, right? And so people eventually like just walk away, they disappear. How's your day going, Diddy? We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that with our Chiron. That's not the goal. You're not here to siphon people energy like that. You want to be empowered, but you do want to show people like, you know, yeah, you can pull yourself out of these spaces. Like, you see people that become advocates. They're always talking about, well, I was abused when I was a kid, or, you know, I also was incarcerated, or I also, you know, I had my son when I was in high school.
You know what I'm saying? I had to make certain decisions. You know, I was sexually abused, you know, and I had to make certain decisions, or I had certain things I was going through in my mindset. And you would be surprised how many people would listen to that and be like, oh wow, like this is what that person did with those trials. This is what that person did with that. Peace, Larry. How you doing, beloved? This is what that person did with those things. Like, imagine what I could do. Like, that's the real, you know, sharing the light. You know what I'm saying? Sharing the light in the darkness. I remember when I was a kid and I was, you know, in my situation. I read Dave Pelzer. Dave Pelzer wrote 2 books. One was called A Child Called It, and the other one was called A Man Named Dave. Those were the 2 books. And it's crazy because about a year or so ago, I went to the library and I found those books. I haven't read those books since I was a kid. And when I found those books and I read them, I couldn't stop crying because it was so much in my brain on how calculating I am, how I play chess and shit that I didn't realize I got from that book. But as I'm reading that book, I'm like, oh shit. Like a lot of this stuff, like I read his book and I learned how to survive in the house that I was in, because maybe it wasn't that extreme. I don't know, but I felt like that lady was going to kill me. Yeah, I felt like she wanted me dead. I felt like she wasn't doing the shit that, you know, Dave Pelzer's mom was doing in that book. But I felt like she wasn't that far off. Like, even if she would have did it by accident one time, I felt like she wasn't that far off. She felt too comfortable knocking me downstairs. She felt too comfortable knocking me through walls. You know, she just felt too comfortable doing certain things that at one period of time, it probably would have been I didn't mean to do that. You know what I'm saying? Which eventually it was. I ended up going to the hospital because my arm was broken. You know what I'm saying? And it was always, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that. So what did you mean to do? And then I had to learn that forgiveness doesn't mean acting like it never fucking happened, because that's what I was always taught. But I didn't realize that was because it was coming from people who didn't want to fucking hear it to begin with. Y'all didn't want to hear what I was going through. Y'all didn't want to hear what I was experiencing, because it would call for you to be more accountable on what I experienced. You know what I'm saying? It will call like, and then I noticed that like whenever I talk about what I experienced, the first thing that happened is I get a phone call telling me that's not how it happened. Like, well, when was this, you know, offer of information in a homeostatic environment? Why you wait until I'm speaking up to want to put a muzzle on me? That's what I call it a muzzle. Don't put your muzzles on me. I don't want a muzzle. If y'all wanted me to have whatever side of the story that you want to give me, you should have gave me that at a different time. To give that to me as a rebuttal to me expressing what I went through is wild. I had met an awesome business coach that, you know, he encouraged me to write my story. My story is actually on my website. Peace TK. I wrote my story and I felt so empowered, because everybody that I knew that was going to come at me the way they came at me, I knew they was going to do it just exactly how they did it. And it made me feel good. Like, I already knew that was going to happen. I already knew y'all was going to do that. I already knew you was going to make this about you. I already knew you was going to call me with the fake apologies. I already knew you was going to tell me this. I already knew y'all was going to tell me not to tell my son. I already knew y'all was going to put y'all muzzles on me in your own different type of way, shape, or form. I already knew that shit. You know what I'm saying? And so just to feel it happen, it was like, now, did that hurt? And it was like, no, because I knew it. And I already know what kind of niggas y'all are. And y'all already hurt my inner child. My inner child been off that shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm the adult here now that my inner child prayed for it. And y'all ain't finna hurt me. Fuck y'all. Y'all did enough. You know? Hey, pal. How you doing, beloved? How you? Oh, he out. Anyway. But how did they go on TK? It's, you know, that's a way to go about it. Like, you know, the people that's going to be offended. You already know they're going to be offended. So just fuck them. You know what I'm saying? Just get used to them trying to put that muzzle on you. I'm glad you're doing great. So that is the MC line to the AC line, y'all. So in your mindset, we're starting off with Capricorn, with the root chakra. We make our way to Aquarius, which is our social, you know, interactions. Then we make our way to Pisces, which is what we believe. Then we come into the new beginnings, and then we ended off in our heart chakra, in that AC where we started off again. And then that's what's happening in our mindset. Now what's happening in our happenings is we have that
that 29-degree Sagittarius. So we're starting with the Oracle Sage in the MC. So you letting spirit is a little static there, but we letting spirit, change the channel for us. And then we go into our root chakra. And then on our external side of the challenges and the boundaries we create, we going inside with our social awareness. I'm pretty good, TK. Thank you for asking. Hey. And then we go to our belief system and our sacral chakra, and then we go into our solar plexus of that Aries new beginning energy before we start it off again in our ascending energy. So that's the comparison of the tropical and the sidereal, y'all. I guess I'll cut it, and we can do sidereal from August 1st to September 2nd another day. Maybe Thursday on the 8/8. Because tomorrow I want to do the hump day reading with y'all and talk about those dates. And then Friday we can do Draconic. Oh yeah, see, I like doing it like this. But just to give y'all the astrological astronomical report, so let's talk about that real quick before I let y'all go. Oh, and then I also wanted to give y'all, so I did my homework. I did my homework a little bit. I told y'all I was going to talk to y'all about Rabbi Isaac Luria, because on the 5th of Av is when he passed. But the 5th of Av is not the 5th of our calendar. The 5th of Av is actually August 9th, right? This is his death day. He's the Holy Lion. Av means father, and Menachem is added to the front of Av. So it's usually Menachem Av, which means comforter or consoler. Which is a divine alignment, because Leo energy is the energy of the father. That's the masculine energy. And then when you put Menachem in front of it, that's Cancer. So that, again, does align us with the Vedic and the tropical chart of, where the sun is at right now, which is pretty cool. We love it here. Yeah, tomorrow we're going to do sidereal. But yeah, so he revolutionized the Kabbalah. So what he did was, the Kabbalah was gatekept heavily. No, only certain people were allowed to learn about it and do about it, the mysticisms of it and the cosmogony of it. But what he did was, like, everybody should know about this shit. We can't gatekeep stuff that we didn't create solely by ourselves. And it's crazy because once you start to learn about it, you realize how unified our different cultures throughout the ages are. It doesn't matter what our language was or what our habits were, or our way of doing things were. We all still were aligned in how we saw things. Especially when I got into the Sirius star, which we talked about heavily in part 1 of the Planetary forecast. We talked about Sirius star. This was the dog star. This was not only the dog star in ancient Egyptian culture. This was also the dog star in Hinduism. This was also the dog star in the Dogon tribe and the other different tribes of Africa. This was also the dog star in different tribes of North and South America. This was also the dog star when dealing with different tribes in Northern Europe. This was always the dog star. This was the dog star in Muslim culture. And some of these cultures never even met each other, in that realm to be like, okay, we all came to the unified conclusion that. And then the same thing with Orion's belt. Actually, Orion's belt is the constellation that you can find whether you're on the northern or some southern hemisphere, which is pretty interesting because most of the other different constellations are not set up like that. So that's pretty cool. But everybody kind of had their own set of pyramids or, physical replicas or, different things. That's why no matter what part of the globe you go on, you're going to see pyramids, because even though we were from different cultures on different sides of the world, we all felt some type of way about this Orion belt and the nebula that was underneath it. We all felt some type of way about the Sirius star. Everybody was using Polaris in some type of way, shape, or form. We all just had this unified, energy with the stars in some type of way, shape, or form, which was very interesting. So for there to be some level of gatekeeping with mysticism information, especially after intentionally wiping it out of a culture, and then turning around and gatekeeping that information away from them. Very intentional, and nothing new under the sun, because we see that happening now with the quote unquote, we know who's running the show right now. And they've tried to completely wipe and put fear in our heart about our original way of doing things, which is why the North and South Node is in alignment with that Pisces, Virgo, Libra, Aries energy the way that it is right now, to recalibrate us back into what we know, but bringing it into a new beginning energy of it. That's what we're here to do. The way we did things before was not cool. We're not trying to do it that way no more. But anyway, let's get back to him. So he was like, yeah, everybody should know about this shit. So, and then also the days, day 1 through day 9 of Av is mourning. People not washing their clothes, they're not washing their ass, they're not eating meat, they're not washing their hair, they're not doing any washing. No washing is going on. It's just like a lot of mourning and tattered clothes and sadness, because the first 9 days of Av are actually like, very maleficent type of days. The Holy Temple was destroyed in 423 BCE. We had 2 temples. The Babylonians destroyed them. And then 69 CE, the Holy Temple was destroyed by the Romans. I wonder what Holy Temple over here in this day and time, because I know that the mounds were destroyed or whatever, but what was the actual Holy Temple? I want to get into that. Y'all know I love my rabbit hole of information. Moses also led the Jews in the desert, and they were like, in distraught for 40 years in the desert, because they weren't supposed to leave the promised land to go out into the desert. They actually were supposed to stay there and, transmute the energy there. But leaving is what, messed it up. And so, same type of, like, when we read stories like that, we take them like Aesop fables and say, okay, what did we learn? We learned that if we decide to leave the energy instead of sitting here and transmuting it and allowing it to be our purpose without taking it personally, we're doomed. Also, in 1290, the Jews were expelled by King Edward from Europe, and then in 1492 they were expelled from Spain. In 1942, which is a play on numbers, that's when extermination camps started popping off. So during the 1st and the 9th of Av, Lamentations are read, and that's when Jeremiah actually predicted the fall of the temples. That's a book in the Bible for those in the back. Av represents tragedy and potential for redemption, which is that 8, that high that makes that low. The goal is to be the homeostasis in the middle, right? 8 is the number of transformation. 8 is the number of flooding, as we are in the season of flooding and now dealing with Sirius that has been conjunct our sun from the beginning of July up until, August 12th. We are now, starting to come into that flow of storming that's happening in the month of 8, right? 8 is storm. 8 is Oya is storm. But yeah, the Babylonian king Lion came under the constellation of Leo, and destroyed the Lion of God, which is Jerusalem. So Jerusalem is supposed to be like that staple space. The Anointed One was born on the same day that that Jerusalem was destroyed. He is called the Moshiach, and he was born in the tribe of Judah, which is the representation of Leo lion energy. And then according to Mathers, Av Leo season is associated with the tribe of Judah, but Halevi associates this month with the tribe of Simeon and Aries energy. Simeon is a tribe of strength or whatever. And then I started going down the rabbit hole with that, but let me do like my due diligence with that one, because I started aligning the 12 tribes of Judah with the 12 disciples, and then the 12 zodiacs and the 12 Hebrew letters. And then, of course, you got the 12 Sephiroth. But then you have a 13 because you have Ophiuchus, and then you have that extra sun or whatever. Hey, Meech, how you doing, beloved? But then you have that extra sun, which is Benjamin or whatever. But then they did align Benjamin with somebody. But there actually was supposed to be like 13, 14 suns, and then there's 14 stars in Orion's belt. I was on the whole thing. I love my rabbit holes of knowledge. I could do this all day. I wish somebody would just pay me to exist so I could do this all day. Because then I have to stop and then worry about bills. Help me. Anyway, that's what I got for y'all today for today's planetary forecast. And so, oh yeah, let me do the astrological report. That's what I said I was going to do before I went down my rabbit hole. My bad, y'all. I got excited. So, and then I will also be doing this separately for those who didn't watch my astro. Today is August 5th. We start the day off with a 0% waxing crescent moon. We are now in the moon of building. We are building intangible things in our space. Not people, places, ideals, emotions, habits, and rituals, stuff like that. Moon rising at 6:52 a.m. and setting at 9:04 p.m. We are in Leo in our mindset with this. So we are walking in confidence and courageousness, being creative in our romantic stuff, tapping into our inner child energy in a space of building. We are in Cancer in the sidereal zodiac energy, so still in that space of nurturing. Hey, mask on. So in that space of nurturing, going back into the womb, that foundation of energy in the 4th house ruled by Leo. We are by the AC line now, so this is the energy that we are exerting. So how much in alignment are you with that Leo Cancer energy? While the sun is also in Leo Cancer as well. Ashe. Sunrise at 6:02 a.m. and setting at 8:08 p.m. Mars and Aldebaran are in conjunction at 2:35 a.m. Mars is 5 degrees north. Now, Aldebaran is that star in the Taurus constellation. It gives off the energy of Mars. It's red, and it's giving off the energy of intelligence, honor, and courage, beginning of large political undertakings. Also a good time to pursue your business. It's considered the eye of Taurus and the follower of Pleiades. As Pleiades comes, the 7th sister cluster comes right before it. The moon and Regulus are in conjunction at 3:22 p.m. The moon is 2.4 degrees north. Minimal angle at 6:33 p.m. The moon will be 2 degrees northeast, and though this will not be visible, Regulus is one of the 4 horsemen stars. This is the star in the Leo constellation. This star gives off the energy of riches, honor, and glory. So having that third eye experience, that that moon energy and alignment with Regulus is a good time to manifest those riches and honor and glory and stuff that you wish to have in your space. Moon and Venus are also in conjunction. So we got a nice little triangle happening with Moon, Mercury, and Venus in the Leo constellation. So for my spellcasters out there, you can create with that. And then we also have a square of foundation happening if you want to add Regulus star with that alignment, if you want to build off of that. So that's for my spellcasters out there in the skies. But Moon and Venus conjunction at 7:45 p.m. Moon is 0.9 degrees north. Minimal angle at 8:37 p.m. The moon is 0.7 degrees northeast, and they're visible at those respective times. The evening visibility of the moon begins as we are in waxing crescent now, so we're building on that. The moon and Mercury are in conjunction at 9:27 p.m. The moon is 6.6 degrees north. And then we talked about the square and the triangle already. And also the moon is closest to the sun, which is perihelion, which is in Cancer. While the moon is in Leo, the sun is in Cancer. And that's what I have for the astrological report. And I'm going to do today's mathematics when I get up out of here. But that's what I got for y'all. Thank y'all for tuning into part 2. I will see you tomorrow for the part 3. And we'll be talking about different things. We'll either be doing the sidereal. Yeah, we could do the sidereal, and I could definitely align that with the different happenings because it's sidereal and sidereal. So that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I'm here for it. Let's do it. Let's do it. So tomorrow will be part 3 on the planetary forecast, and we're making our way through it because this was a big one, and I feel like they keep getting bigger the more I know. And to have y'all sitting here like this is a Jose Sanchez video for like 6 hours is wild, and to have me sitting here for 6 hours also wild. But yes, peace, y'all. Thank you, Adonis. Thank you for tapping in. We definitely got to talk about this whole secret society situation.